I don't sound like I'm on Home and Away, but since you've all been watching it for 30 years, hands up who was born after 1985.
just one.
That's even better because you've been with Home and Away since the beginning. Does anyone remember Morag? Yes. Morag was played by the late, great Cornelia Francis. She was fabulous. She was also in Australia, as well as being Morag on Home and Away. She was, do you remember the weakest link? You know, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Corny was our weakest link anchor. I met Corny, yes. I'm going down the Kathy Griffith route. I had a whole bit lined up about what I was going to wear and why I decided to do this, but I'm just going to go with the star fucking. So I once met Cornelia Francis. And Corny was the most warm, funny, beautiful woman I've ever met. And she had 2 jokes, she told me. And she told me one of them. Would you like to hear one of Cornelia Francis's jokes?
Yep.
Cornelia passed away a couple of months ago, so I will never get to hear her second joke. But this is the first joke, and this will sort out the wheat from the chaff, audience-wise. A man walks into a library. He walks up to the counter and he says, "I'd like to take out a book on suicide." And the librarian says, "Fuck off, you'll never bring it back." I'm joking, sorry, I don't know the Irish helpline. Oh, Jay, by the way, if that's you in the Robert Anders video doing the weird thing with the tongue, I'll see you later. So yes, as I say, I am Australian. I always wanted to be a stand-up comic, but I was scared people would laugh at me. Having said that though, does anyone remember Phyllis Diller? Phyllis Diller was, again, late, great, looking backward, not me, comedian. She was the trailblazer of all American comedians. She had a great joke about not cleaning the oven, so just making ever increasingly smaller cakes. Women after my own heart. She'd say, housework, you do the dishes, you make the bed, 6 months later you've got to do it all over again. But Phyllis Diller didn't start her stand-up career until she was 40 years old and had 5 kids. Well, I'm 1 kid over and about a decade late past my deadline, but here I am.
Woo!
Thank you. Hands up, who's been to Australia? Ooh, some of you, hands up, who's got a brother in Australia? Oh, I bet, come on. You've got cousins out there and you all hate them because they're getting a tan and they keep lying in their FaceTime back home about how much money they're making. Believe me, you're better off here.
Well, you're here.
So when I tell people from Mayo that I'm Australian and I now live here, the most common reaction I get is, why? And I would like to express that to you in the form of a joke. An Irishman walks into a sex shop and he goes up to the bird on the counter and he says, "I'd like some change for the peep show." And I said, "Oh, you're Irish, are you here long?" And he says, "I'm going to stay. I'm never going back. My last summer was 63 consecutive days of rain." And I look at him and I say, "Well, you better find a nice Aussie girl to marry." And he says, "Will you marry me?" And I ended up in Mayo. Yes, but if anyone was in Northridge in 2008, I can tell you it was quite an interesting time. There were 30,000 approximately Irish boys who had all fled the Celtic tiger because it died quite spectacularly in the arse, and they ended up in Perth driving up our rental prices and taking all our mining money while we couldn't get jobs in the pubs anymore because the 18-year-old Irish girls who came with them took those jobs. So, but luckily I was in fact working in a sex shop at that time, so I'd met just about every single one of those 30,000 Irish boys. On the way here tonight, I thought, do I have the guts? And I thought, well, I used to stand in front of a counter, and behind me, the merchandise would be displayed. So, when you've been asked a million times, can you take that one, love? I reckon I'll be all right tonight. So, just to prove just how very brave I am, I'm going to stand here and tell an Irish joke.
Suicidal.
It's going to be the first and last appearance of Mama Duck. Okay, here we go. There's two Irishmen, and they walk up to a nightclub, and the bouncer says, no. What the fuck do you mean, no? My husband's from Dublin. And he said, tonight is a theme night. This is a hipster club. We're into our emotions. Tonight is all about emotions. See that guy there? He's dressed in blue. He's feeling down. He's depressed. He's got the blues. See her? She's dressed in red. Flames. She's passionate. Fuck off. Find some costumes. I don't want to see you again. So the Irishmen look at each other and they go over to Tesco's. And they come back. And they're completely naked. And they front up to the bouncer. And one has a bowl of pudding on the end of his knob. And the other one has a piece of fruit firmly impaled upon his penis. Oh, incidentally, working in a sex shop, meeting Irishmen is the first time I ever heard the term, like a baby's arm holding an apple. And the bouncer looks at these two Dubliners and says, what the hell do you think you're playing at? And the Dubliner says, you said it was about emotions. And he says, yeah. He says, well, I am fucking disgusted and he is in despair. Thank you so very much.